Hello. I just wanted to hop on here real quick just to do another PSA, public service announcement. We had another school shooting, in Atlanta, or in the Atlanta area, in Winder, Georgia, this week. And it was this time a 14-year-old white male shooting up his school, shooting some students, killing some students, and killing some teachers. So very unnecessarily, as in all of the rest of the shootings of the past. I think this year we're at 385 mass shootings for the year. We're in September. 385. That makes no sense. America, do better. But my point in coming on this morning, when they first interviewed the dad of the 14-year-old who shot up the kids and shot up his school, his teachers and kids. When they first interviewed the dad, they asked him about, how did he get access to the guns? And he lied and said, I don't know how he got access to that assault rifle. They found an assault rifle that he laid down after the SRO and the police confronted him, he was like, let me put this gun down. Turns out it's an assault rifle. So the question is, to the dad was, how did he get it? The dad said, I don't know. So then, fast forward a day later, they've arrested the dad because the father, who was supposed to be the father, the parent, bought a 14-year-old an assault rifle. And his explanation was, I wanted to teach him about hunting to pull him away from focusing on video games. Now, if I ain't played a video game since probably ColecoVision or Atari back in the 80s. I have not touched a joystick or a controller since then. However, or Pac-Man, let's go with that one. But I do know the types of video games that these kids play now because I hear them talk about them. I see the commercials. I see the ads on TV and on the internet. I know what kind of games these are. These are shoot 'em up, bloody, violent video games. So this father's rationale was, I'm going to buy my child a gun. Let's back up. I already know, if you already know your child watches and pays attention to video games or TV shows and things like that are super violent and that have guns already in them, how much sense would it make to then go introduce a real gun into their hands and then act shocked and surprised when they go and shoot up their school? And school just started, y'all. Like school for everyone around the country literally just started. So I'm trying to understand this dad's rationale. You don't solve your son's playing violent video games with going to then get a violent weapon for him to possibly go shoot up, which he did. And they said he cried out for help beforehand, that he asked for help. What are you doing in your house that you don't know what your kid's doing? Clearly there was lack of communication. Clearly parents must have been scared of the kid. But they said he cried out for help and asked for help. What are you doing I'm really tired of parents trying to be their kids' friends. Stop trying to be their friends. Stop being afraid of your kids. Don't have kids if you're going to be scared of them. You the parent. You're the parent. Don't have kids if you're going to be scared of them and if you're not going to parent. You're a parent. You're not their friend. They're not mini me's. They're not mini adults. They are kids. Okay? Why would you go get a gun for a 14-year-old kid because they were watching too many video games or playing too many video games? You put a real gun in his hand. In his head, he already had violence in his head. So then you go and get a real gun, show him how to shoot it. Then he goes and does it. Shocking. I'm real tired of it. I'm over it, y'all. Parents, be parents. Monitor what your kids are doing. Here's a novel idea. Have dinner at the table. Do that. Because some of y'all need to be having meals at the table like we did back in the day and sit and talk. Even if you don't talk, because I'm not going to lie. We had dinner at the table when I was growing up. I'm not sure how much talking took place, especially on my behalf. However, my parents saw me every day. They saw what I was looking like. I wasn't disheveled or crazy looking. I wasn't acting like I was, having issues. And, they tapped into that. And if I was having issues, my parents addressed it. They asked me, what is going on with you? What is happening? I also had people in my life, and I think this is part of what's missing too. I had different, elders, if you will, or older people in my life. We had our teachers. Some of my teachers also went to my church. We had the babysitter. I went to the babysitter till I was at least about 13-ish. My parents sent me to the babysitter for a long time. And it was one of those neighborhood babysitters. It wasn't a daycare or child care facility. It was one of those old school neighborhood babysitters where all the kids in the community went to this one babysitter. And she, knew what was going on with me. Her and her husband, both, and their kids that lived there, they knew what was going on with all the kids that was coming there. So I don't know who's in some of these kids' lives, but they have to tap into what's going on with these kids. It's one thing to have fun with kids, but you can't just have fun with them. You got to tap into them, see what's going on. And if they get out of line, you got to check them. Check these kids. Check them before they get to school. Check them before they have a mental breakdown. Check on them. And if they need help, get help. It's all kind of free resources at school, at church, at different community facilities, things like that. And if you think you can't be a parent or don't know how to parent, put your kid in some type of program. Put them in a mentoring program, some sort of after school program, something, sports. Because kids that are involved in sports 9 times out of 10 are not going around shooting up doing stuff like this. They're not, because they're involved in stuff. Their brain is being used. Their mental capacity is being used in a different way than sitting around on video games. So, yes, that dad is at fault. Just like those parents up in Michigan from that kid that shot up all those people at his school. This dad is also at fault in Winder, Georgia. Because you should have never bought your 14-year-old kid a gun, an assault rifle at that. Like, come on, y'all, common sense. And some of y'all, this is my last little PSA moment. Some of y'all need to re-implement discipline and consequences into your children's lives. If they do things that are negative, if they participate in negative behavior towards you, other older people, teachers, things like that, start implementing consequences. If you talk back, mouth off to the teacher, if you get bad grades, they should have consequences. No, you don't get a new electronic toy. No, you don't get these new sneakers until you bring up your grades or until you can talk to adults like you got some sense. I'm talking to all parents of little kids, pre-K all the way up to 5th grade, all the way up to high school. Y'all better get a grip because some of these kids are tripping and you're not training them up to participate in society on a normal level. And this is why we have these kids that go off and do this type of stuff. So you either have kids like this 14-year-old who went off and thought it was okay to shoot up and whatever he was dealing with in his mind. I don't know if he was bullied or getting picked on or what have you, but school had just started, y'all. So he either had some leftover stuff that came from last school year or something happened at home or at school since school has started to trigger him to do this. Because he'd been thinking about this. This wasn't new. Okay? So start checking in on your kids, checking in on them, but also checking them. And then also implement some sort of consequence about behavior. In school, we have rules for behavior. We don't necessarily reward good behavior because that's what you're supposed to do. But if you exhibit some sort of bad or negative behavior, you might have to go see the principal. You might get suspended. You might get, whatever. So at home, you need to start doing the same thing. Negative behavior equals consequences. Stop slapping them on the wrist. Stop acting like they're your friend. Stop giving them stuff when they do bad things. Don't reward bad behavior, because then they're going to come to school expecting us to reward bad behavior, and that doesn't work. And then they're going to get mad at us and tell us, no, I don't want to do that, this, that, and the other. A child should never be telling a teacher, no, I don't want to do that. I mean, and they're doing it on levels, high levels right now. You're like, what? That means you're telling another adult at home, adults in your life, no, I don't want to do this. Yeah, somewhere along the way, something's missing. And some of y'all parents got to get a grip, because it's only going to get worse over the next few years if you do not get a grip on this parenting situation. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Love the kids. Love working with the kids. Okay? But some of them you need to pay attention. Okay? That's all I'm going to say. All right? Thank you. Have a great weekend.